Hello, my friends. Thank you for tuning in again. Or if you're here for the first time, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Wieteke. I am an artist, intuitive, and ET channel. On this YouTube channel, I share, when I feel like sharing, segments of what I've been receiving when it comes to dreams, downloads, channeled information, and more. And I look at all of this as me offering to you, in your version of reality, reflections for you to play with. I always do say at the beginning of every single video, please take from this what works for you and leave the rest behind. And that is always applicable to anything I say or share with you here or even anywhere else. And I feel that that's the case even for everything that I take into my world as well, into my energy field, when I meet other people, when I watch a video on YouTube, when somebody tells me something they heard on the street. All of these things I look at as reflections for me to play with and to explore within myself why I might have manifested that reflection, particular reflection, into my version of reality. More so even if it moved me or if I felt it was relevant, and how I could respond to it. So that's a game that I've been playing for myself and that I invite all of you to play for yourselves too, if it resonates with you. So first of all, I wanted to say that it's been a really long time since I shared any Arjun channelings, but I've got one here for you. I hope you'll enjoy it. It's a new format. This one came through, is that a correct sentence? I don't know. This one came through automatic writing. What some of you know, but most probably don't, is that I used to write a lot before I started channeling vocally. A lot of that information came through for me as poetry before I started working publicly with the information that I received from the Yahyel. I didn't even know it was from the Yahyel yet at that time. But yeah, that's just how it came through. I really love poetry, personally. I've got that kind of mind that loves this language. That is just, the concentrate of language. That's how I look at poetry. It's like normal language and then minimized to, like, it's just peeled back all the feathers and the glitters and all of the show, peeled back and all the way down to the bare bones, the skeleton of language, the essence of it all. That's what poetry is to me, and that's why I so much love it. I can so feel it, and it makes so much more sense, at least in my mind. It makes more sense sometimes to read a haiku or a short poem than to read an entire book. And I can feel that the poem says more than is in the book with so fewer words. And that's just something I really, really appreciate. Anyway, when I do automatic writing, very often, if I am in a very deep meditative state, the first version of the message that I receive from the Yahyel is in that tonation. Now, usually, as it comes through like that, what I used to do ever since I started going public with this information, with the channelings, I used to kind of like feel a need to build a bridge between a more general audience and the way the Yahyel would phrase these messages. So it would be explained more. There would be a lot of like in other words, and then ... information would be, more words were added to it so that people could follow along from different angles of perception. And everybody who has been listening to Arjun in live streams or even the videos on the YouTube channel right now that are already there may notice here and there that poetic ingredient is still there, but it would be explained very much. So just recently, I did another automatic writing about the times that we're in and the times that we're moving into. And definitely, this is different from everything else. I mean, each moment, of course, yes, is unique, but where we are right now in time and space, it is different from anything we've lived so far. And what's gonna follow is gonna be even more different. And I needed some time to process that. And I took more than 6 months in a big bubble of being the natural introvert that I actually am, to just be with that and to allow it to be processed by myself. I felt I really had to do that before I could step out with it, with that deeper realization of the depth of the shift that we're about to enter. We're already in it, but we're also at the beginning of it. And it's going to accelerate, as I understand, starting, well, it's already accelerating, but it's going to accelerate even more starting 2025. And who knows what will follow from there? I don't know. But I do know that I came out of my summer hibernation. Weirdest thing ever. I've never had that before. But that's what happened for me this last summer. That's why it was so quiet on this YouTube channel. I was just processing. And when I came out of that summer hibernation, well, that's what it turned out to be, I felt such a delightful and deep sense of inner peace and groundedness. And when I started meditating and getting ready for doing more automatic writings again, I found myself in that super deep meditative state still, and without the need to bridge that understanding from what was written or how it came through initially and how it might be presented later to all of you or anybody who wants to read or hear it. So what I decided to do was to actually stay with that original form of the transmission. Read it to you exactly as it came through. Read it to you once without any interruptions or added explanation, and then read it to you again with added explanation. So I'm not gonna interrupt the flow of the original message with added explanation right away, but for those who wish to receive that and who don't have that crazy abstract thinking mind that people have that really resonate with poetry more naturally, if you feel you can't immediately follow along, if you would like to hear what's in between the words, as Arjun calls it, and what I see in my mind's eye, or what I saw in my mind's eye when I was receiving this message, then stay tuned. Listen to the original version if you like, or skip ahead to the one with the explanation. I'll see if I can add a time frame here in the screen somewhere. So yeah, I just wanted to give you the possibility, the option to choose for yourself if you want to hear the original channeling as it came through in automatic writing, just as is, or if you would like to, receive that channeling and then with added explanation. So this is an experiment for me. I've never done this before. Writing like this, I have done this many times before. In fact, little secret, I used to actually use some of the channelings that I received. My goodness, this has been a while back. This was before I went public with the channeled material of Arjun. I used to use some of that in poetry contests and actually won some prizes. Didn't tell anybody that I was feeling really weird in my mind while writing those poems. But yeah, that was a fun experiment. I used to write a lot of poetry. And when I did art school, I used to paint and draw a lot to process my multidimensional experiences. And usually I would feel those things don't need a lot of explanation, or also I was too shy to share a lot of that stuff with people around me, fearing they wouldn't understand. So I would keep it very, very simplistic, very simple, very poetic, trusting that whoever would read that, if it was truly relevant for them to understand the deeper layer, they would. And I think the same is true for you right now. Some of you may only need to hear the original version as is, and others will navigate more to the one with the explanation. So anyway, enough of that. I'm just going to dive right in. Hope you enjoy. So from Arjun, this came through last week. And I invite you, if you do enjoy poetry, close your eyes, take a nice few deep breaths, and just take this in. See where it takes you. Let me know in the comments later. Dear friends, Earth family, these days may feel to you as fleeting, shifting, too short to get much done. Some may feel as if you have fallen in between the cracks of time, your mind drifting, your hands darting from one task to another, leaving some unfinished or forgotten along the way. You are inviting yourselves now to sort out what matters and what does no more. The things that matter, trust, will keep on resurfacing naturally. And then there may be times when, quite suddenly, now you feel calm, deeply still within your heart, and as if your every cell is gently glowing with an inner smile and all is well. What just happened, you might think? Why would I ever worry again? We see you and stand beside you in your journey through these transformative times. And we wish to let you know, do not worry about the perhaps unpredictable nature of these sensations, for these are but the first steps into a much more expansive state of being. This is you, inviting yourself to embrace more and more of your true authentic self. With the speed of a professional shuffling a deck of cards, you are flipping now through a wide array of possible and probable versions of Earth. What you sense now at times when seemingly lost for a moment are the imprints, the bleed-throughs, the echoes of times past or yet to come. All of these now parallel realities reverberate through the veins of the Mother within the web of her crossing roads and streaming rivers. One era to the next, and all available at once in one endless here and now. You have been shifting through timelines before, some of you more lucidly than others, all in your own perfect way. This time, however, for an increasing number of you, these cards will appear more tangibly and they shall move much faster as you decide on what to bring and what to leave behind by the grace of your divine focus. Allow your eyes to rest gently now on this widening horizon within yourself. The tightening of threads is what brings you the sensation of acceleration, the sense of placelessness, whilst all of you subconsciously are preparing to be guided through the eye of the needle. One door shall open, for each individually and collectively for all, though the passing shall remain by choice. Each thread a storyline, drawn to hearts that reach out in song of similar tune. The tone is set in both realms, the ethereal and the dense, within and outside of time simultaneously. For only through your hearts these threads can weave into knowingness, as your earth opens up and rises to meet them, so they may sprout into form on her face as you perceive it from your own. One embraces and anchors to the new world from within, and soon there are 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, an entire collective within the collective. Each soul adding to the golden momentum needed for its divine embodiment. There are enough, we say, no doubt, to assist in creating the tipping point for all. We know, for you have already reached it some time ago. Your active remembrance has paid off and in another way has only just begun. Soon come the events that shall help you ground this new era from within. Without postponing on itself, it shall invite you to make peace with and then break the rigid ways connected to this linear illusion. This breaking shall come with challenges, as many a comfort zone and ignorance have merged into one for long, and you have asked for these to be released from one another. Through all of this, then, tied up energies will be set free and become available, allowing for blinders to be removed and for the logical desire to enjoy comforts based on consciousness and deeper knowing. Once the biggest of shifts has moved through these fields of your inner and outer vision, this is when you will find yourself invited to befriend anew another sense of time and space, wherein a void dance is no more. All contacts shall be real, in perfect lockstep with the understanding of your greater self, and you shall remember without a shred of doubt that this is why you came. So there's that. It's a lot, isn't it? My goodness. Let me know what you felt as you heard this for the first time. I'm just gonna go through it again, this time adding the information that I feel was hiding between the words, so to speak. So here we go for the breakdown of this download. Arjun, the Yahyel, so close to us, really like friends and family. Start with dear friends, Earth family. These days may feel to you as fleeting, shifting, too short to get much done. Some may feel as if you have fallen between or in between the cracks of time, your mind drifting, your hands darting from one task to another, leaving some unfinished or forgotten along the way. Gosh, I would love to hear if you guys have been feeling this way. I know I have. It felt for a long time like I couldn't do anything. Other than, the basic mundane stuff. Nothing is mundane really, but the basic stuff. To just move from day to day. It doesn't mean I was depressed or anything. It just meant I craved simplicity. Yeah, and it's true. I do feel like there was a lot of sense of timelessness in those past few months. And Arjun is just confirming this is how you may have felt. Many of you. That's why I'm so super curious to hear from you guys if you had that same sensation over the past few months. Or maybe even right now still. Who knows? For me, I feel it got better since the beginning of October for some reason. Yeah. Love to hear your opinion. So then he says, you are inviting yourselves now to sort out what matters and what does no more. The things that matter, trust, will keep on resurfacing naturally. So in other words, if you do choose to go inward and become super basic about things in life, whatever is truly, truly relevant for you to continue to pay attention to will continue to resurface in your mind naturally. It will be something that you may even translate this as some thought or a memory or a concept that keeps bugging you. But if it does, I think it's you showing yourself. It still needs your attention. It may be something that is quite important actually to transform within yourself. There is some profit to be gained, so to speak, if you want to put it into financial terms. That's what I feel this particular part of the download means. And then since they say you are inviting yourselves now to sort out what matters and what does no more, things that, keep slipping from your mind, that you keep forgetting, I think it's okay to trust that these things truly are no longer relevant and you can just allow them to be or put them on a shelf somewhere because right now that's not important, whatever that may be. There's a reason why you feel an increasing amount of resistance, perhaps, regarding certain subjects in your life. And this may be the reason that it's just no longer relevant for you, where you're going next. And our rational minds don't always know where we're going to go next, right? So it's really an exercise of surrender, this is. So here we go to the next part. And then there may be times where quite suddenly now you feel calm, deeply still within your heart, and as if your every cell is gently glowing with an inner smile, and all is well. Oh, I love this sentence. I love it so much. What just happened, you might think? Why would I ever worry again? And these are the moments I feel personally where we've been doing our things, just going with the flow, and all of a sudden it's like the sky breaks open and the sun shines through, and you feel as if you're already done sorting everything out, like your whole life. Everything's sorted out, and you can just so completely land in the now moment. Everything is so complete. Just for a moment, you can delightfully forget all the to-do lists and just be with you. And I think these anchor moments, if you don't feel them on a regular basis right now, it might be worth the effort to create some time for instance, deliberate meditation or something that you like to do that you know eases the way for you to get to such a space within yourself, to nourish such moments to occur in your life. I think is of great value where we are right now, because it's like right now, that's how I feel. We're being given time to breathe in. Like we're preparing for this really, really exciting whatever is going to happen next. We'll be potentially needing a lot more oxygen by that time. And it's like we're prepping for it. We're breathing in. We've got time to breathe in, and when you're all centered, it's really nice when the chaos begins, potential chaos, I don't know. When upheaval comes, where plot twists are being introduced to us, it's so nice to know that you already breathed in, and now you can breathe out, and you can stay present with these things, because you've got your lungs filled, you're good to go. So then they continue to say, we see you and stand beside you in your journey through these transformative times. And we wish to let you know, do not worry about the perhaps unpredictable nature of these sensations, for these are but the first steps into a much more expansive state of being. This is you inviting yourself to embrace more and more of your true, authentic self. So I feel, speaking about authentic selves, most of us know, if you go with a friend to, I don't know, you go for a day out or a weekend, out to the country, whatever, just to name an example, and something unexpected happens. That is when you get to see, usually, the true nature, the authentic nature of the people around you when something crazy happens. So I feel that what they're saying to us here is when they say, do not worry about the perhaps unpredictable nature of these sensations. I think what they're saying is allow the plot twists to just occur and be presented to you, and allow your feelings also to respond to these incidents however they may, and be present with that, because you're revealing your own true authentic self to yourself as these things are happening. It's like we're being poked a little bit or triggered in order to discover those very sturdy layers of that metaphorical onion that we're constantly peeling, right? To peel those layers off, to let them go, and also, more importantly, to identify them, to see them, to get them clearly in the picture. Because if we're not being nudged or triggered a little bit, we're not going to discover these things. Just like when you always meet all of your friends in perfectly fine circumstances, where we are right now, currently, still in the last traces of our non-telepathic community as mankind, we're so good at hiding stuff towards one another, and we do it for all kinds of reasons. And I'm guilty of this too, for sure. I'm as human as anybody else in this regard, and still learning to be more transparent, more open, more direct, more authentic in my communication with people as well. But as we go through our journey, I feel that the momentum for becoming more and more authentic and transparent is increasing. And what I understand from this particular transmission is that eventually we'll get to a point where there's no ignoring that. It's not like we have it now still. We're in the remnants, like the last traces where that is still possible. But very soon that will not be possible anymore, to just suppress all of these things. So get used to it now is what they're saying. Get used to it now. Flow with it. Heal what needs to be healed within yourself, because it's gonna pay off tremendously in those times ahead. Yeah. So okay. Then the next part is, with the speed of a professional shuffling a deck of cards, you are flipping now through a wide array of possible and probable versions of Earth. This is such a visible image, isn't it? I mean, such a tangible image. I can just see the, when people who are like professional card players, or how do you even call these people that are the ones at the head of the table in a casino who know how to do that, and then they hand out the cards. I've never ever been to a casino, so I've only seen these pictures in movies, so I don't even know what that would look like in real life, but I have such a vivid image of it in my mind. I think it's such a clear symbol, right? So what they're saying is that this is really going very, very fast right now. All the possible and probable versions of Earth, are at our feet, that are just, moving in all possible directions. And then they continue, what you sense now at times, when seemingly lost for a moment, are the imprints, the bleed-throughs, the echoes of times past or yet to come. Sounds like, to me, like we're at a crossing where all of these possible and probable versions of reality are overlapping each other and come together in a very, very condensed manner. That's what I felt as I wrote this, as I received this segment of the transmission. I felt like we're in a pressure cooker right now. But yet also like steam is already escaping from it. Somebody has lifted the lid just a little bit. It's starting to be lifted. But you can so clearly sense the pressure that is inside of that pan, right? So then they continue. All of these now parallel realities reverberate through the veins of the mother, within the web of her crossing roads and streaming rivers, one era to the next, and all available at once, in one endless here and now. So it sounds as if we're being invited to become more consciously aware of the fact that all these timelines are available to us, that there's a big variety of them, and that they reach both into the past and the future. So we're receiving echoes, reverberations, bleed-throughs, as they call them, of all of these events that are potential and probable in many of these timelines. And we get to choose. We get to, from our own inner being, choose a direction that we wish to lean into. What events, what vibrational realities, what versions of reality would we like to harmonize with? What are we gonna meet up with energetically? And then they continue. You have been shifting through timelines before, some of you more lucidly than others, all in your own perfect way. This time, however, for an increasing number of you, these cards will appear more tangibly, and they shall move much faster as you decide on what to bring and what to leave behind by the grace of your divine focus. So again, I feel this is a reminder that we, from our point of focus, the focus that we choose to have in any given here and now moment, on whatever we occupy our minds with, whatever we lend our emotions to, right now we are sorting out those cards. We're sorting out the deck that is being shuffled, and we're choosing the threads, the lines, the illusion of linear continuity, and in what direction we will continue to navigate. And then that version of reality will appear to us. And all along all of this, we are building a higher vision. So I also feel that Arjun has explained this to me once, that as we evolve in our spiritual journey, our vibration rises. And as we rise in vibration, you could use the metaphor that we also quote unquote rise in height, so to speak. If you're using this as a symbol, you kind of elevate yourself to the top of the mountain, so to speak. And when you're on the top of the mountain, you can see much further. And I felt that that piece of information was also weaving along into this particular transmission as I received it. So then they continue, the tightening of threads is what brings you the sensation of acceleration, the sense of placelessness, whilst all of you subconsciously are preparing to be guided through the eye of the needle. One door shall open, for each individually and collectively for all, though the passing shall remain by choice. And I feel that by those last words, they mean to say that we're not being forced into all of this, that it will still be an individual decision whether we pass through a particular doorway or not. And a doorway most certainly will open, through which so there's a deciding moment. Now we're sorting things out. We're kind of like building the momentum of where we desire to go in the future. But there will be a very decisive moment where we can choose to step into that fully or not. I feel that's what this felt like to me as I received this information. And the tightening of threads, that's again the symbol for the linearity and the timelines. That's about how we interpret our storylines linearly. And the tightening of those threads is just the coming together, the becoming more lucidly, consciously aware of the fact that there is such a big amount of choices to choose from, that we have all this variety, all these nuances, not just quote unquote out there as storylines that we may choose to embark upon, but also within ourselves. I feel very strongly we're being invited to look at our own layeredness and the nuances inside our own inner being, and to sort through that as well. So then they continue, each thread a storyline. That's the linearity of things. Drawn to hearts that reach out in song of similar tune. I think this is about like being attracted to like, and every storyline needing the foundation to land on, so to speak, so that it can truly unfold. It needs a solid foundation. And if you build a solid foundation in yourself right now, where you come from an elevated point of view, where you feel love and compassion for the outside world, people in your environment, and so on, you build a foundation on which the storylines that you really resonate with, they can harmonize with that foundation in you. And then, come into form, which is actually what they say next. The tone, they say, is set in both realms, the ethereal and the dense, within and outside of time simultaneously. So the initial tone, in the Bible, I think it says first there was the word, there was the sound. And that always makes me think of the sound, the aum, the om sound, which vibrationally encompasses into itself all wavelengths that make up the main ones of the chakras in our own energy body. When you sing om and you really take your time to let that sound just roll around and vibrate throughout your entire being, you're basically opening up every single one of your chakras. You're just saying to all of these energy centers, release all that no longer serves you and embrace everything that nourishes you. Just singing Om does that for your body. I believe so. And I love using this tool for myself at times. So yeah, just that made me think of that. Where were we? The tone is set in both realms, the ethereal and the dense. Okay, so yeah, as I understand from Arjun, we create our physical reality from the non-physical reality. First you have an idea, then you act on it, and then it comes to fruition. Then it's in the physical all of a sudden. It was already there in a different timeline. It was already there. Whatever you were striving for to see manifest in your physical world exploration, you just allowed yourself to shift into that, into harmony with that particular timeline eventually. But you already set the tone with your intention, with that which you have been nourishing inside yourself. And then it clicks, it harmonizes. And I got a whole different download just about that and the times that we're in right now that I'm gonna save for a different video. Otherwise this one gets way too long. Yeah, there's so much more. I'm so excited about all of this. I hope you are too. Okay, so the tone is set in both realms, the ethereal and the dense, within and outside of time simultaneously. Okay, so within time, that's what we know. We can set our intent consciously within 5 minutes. Or so we think, right? We create time in the dense, and there is no time in the ethereal. And it all coexists simultaneously. And we set the tone in both of these realms. We do it here and we do it there. We do it from the level of the higher self and we do it from the rational mind's point of view. And isn't that the journey? To just allow ourselves to learn how to align these two, right? So then they continue. For only through your hearts these threads can weave into knowingness as your earth opens up and rises to meet them, so they may sprout into form on her face as you perceive it from your own. Well, this is a really long sentence with a lot of stuff in there. So it begins with, for only through your hearts these threads can weave into knowingness. Knowingness, by the way, is with a capital K. I believe what they mean to say by that is that only through our hearts, our beating hearts, our form in the flesh, the avatar, and the seed of the soul, right? That only through our hearts. So when we pull the ethereal information into the physical form and we give it hands and feet, we embody it consciously, that's when these threads, these storylines from the ethereal can move or weave, they say, into knowingness. So knowingness or wisdom, experience, comes from us embodying our ideas, our aspirations, our intuition, our inspiration. When we give that form, when we act on our enthusiasm from moment to moment. That's when we create knowingness. Because when you do whatever it is you feel inspired to do, you will run into all the obstacles that may still be in the way. And overcoming these obstacles and transforming them and remaining present with yourself as you're allowing yourself to embark on such journeys in your own life is what creates knowingness. It triggers remembrance. It creates realization, which you can really only have as you just move through life and continue moving through life, So that's what I feel is in that first part. And then, wow, for only through your heart, these threads can weave into knowingness as your earth opens up and rises to meet them, so they may sprout into form. I love this because Earth, Gaia, is conscious. We live with her. We are a part of her. And she lives through us as much as we live through her. We live through her when we eat the foods, the things that come from this planet. And she lives through us as we are an extension, in a sense, of her, being physical beings, being connected to her auric field, to her own karmic journey in a way. We're really in this together. And I feel that this is what those sentences are, or this segment of this immense sentence is reminding us of. As your earth opens up and rises to meet them, those threads from the ethereal, so they may sprout into form on her face, the face of the earth. I love that because it's such, like a double meaning here. On her face and on her face, as you perceive it from your own form, you perceive how these things come to fruition on her form. Or you could even read it as from your own face, your eyes are in your face, you will perceive how things sprout into form on the face of the earth. My gosh, so much in here, right? Then the next sentence is, one embraces and anchors to the new world from within. And soon there are 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, an entire collective within the collective. So what I was shown as I was writing this was the golden ratio. And I'll show a picture of that in the screen right now of this video so that you can see what I saw in my mind. And they were referring to the, I'm not very good with mathematics, and then to find the correct English words to describe this. The leaps, the tiny leaps that are being taken within the shape of a golden ratio. Like, for example, in this corner, I don't know if you can see it, there's this like huge shell. It's that shape, and there's this like baby steps wherein it builds up. And actually, all of a sudden, it starts going way faster because the shape is getting much larger. And that continues. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as we usually linearly count. It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and then it goes on into numbers that I don't know by head. Anyway, so this is what they shared as an example. One embraces and anchors to the new world from within, and they do mean one person. And then they say, and soon there are 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, an entire collective. So a lot of people, all of a sudden, that goes real fast. And this makes me think of that segment in the Bible where I believe Jesus said, or Jeshua said, wherever 2 or more gather in my name, mountains can be moved, or something like that. So the moment we connect and we unite and harmonize as humans on a particular intent, we create an amount of momentum that is way larger than the number we perceive. So 2 or more creates, in fact, in this example, 3, 5, 8, 13. And that goes way faster than we can possibly imagine. That's what I feel they were communicating with us here. So it creates an entire collective within the collective. So by that, I feel they mean to say, we are already, everybody who is on this path of self-exploration and allowing yourself to move out of your comfort zone, peeling those layers, all of the things, If you're on that journey with yourself, you're compassionate with yourself, and you continue to stick with it, and you have the devotion for yourself and for mankind to continue to be on this path. Because you do the work. You don't do it just for you. You do it for others too. And maybe that's not immediately obvious, but eventually, one day, it will be. I really believe that. So there's an entire collective already of people doing that within the collective that we now see on the seeming outside layer of reality. So you may be, in your version of reality, you may be surrounded by people that you feel don't understand you at all. They just don't get you. They don't see you. They don't recognize you in the way that perhaps you orient. And I hope you're not super bothered by that. But if you are, maybe this comes as some words of comfort. Maybe this information comes as a message of comfort, because they're saying all of this anchoring of the new world through a few individuals soon creates an entire collective within the collective. So it's a whole secret community within the community that we now see on the surface level. that may not be there yet, that they're still just at the very beginnings of that journey, perhaps. Maybe at some point they will need your help to get there, So they then continue, each soul adding to the golden momentum needed for its divine embodiment. Yeah, the golden momentum, I think, is the blend of the golden ratio and then the momentum that we're building. And the divine embodiment relates to both the new world that we're all creating from within and the divine embodiment, I think, of each soul itself. I do feel we are divinely embodied right now, but I also believe that there are different levels of being divinely embodied, and we may be moving into the direction of an even more divine embodiment. Bear with me. I'm sure you get what I mean. There's always room for expansion, right? The journey really never ends. So if we were done with all of that, we wouldn't be here. That's what I believe. We're still on this journey. So am I. We're all just learning one step at a time. And then they continue. There are enough, we say, no doubt, to assist in creating the tipping point for all. We know, for you have already reached it some time ago. Your active remembrance has paid off, and in another way has only just begun. So there again, there is this, I feel, hinting towards a whole new time and age where we will perhaps even have a different experience of remembrance. Imagine that. My goodness, what would that be like? I don't even know. I can't even begin to imagine. But all the active remembrance, by which I do very strongly feel they mean the remembrance, the knowingness that you chose to act upon, so truly embody and live by in this life. All of this active remembrance has paid off already, and in another way has only just begun. So we're going to have to learn how to do that again, anew. And the tipping point, I'm sure you've heard about this before from Arjun or other beings that are being channeled by other channelers as well, that there is a tipping point, that there is this collective and we can move into different timelines. Some are high vibrational, some are low vibrational. And on those really low vibrational ones, the tipping point apparently has not been met. Within all that is, every possible pathway wishes to be experienced, right? So those pathways also do exist. But here they're letting us know we're already on a pathway where the tipping point has been met. For you have already reached it some time ago. That everybody who hears this, I feel, is on that timeline or is harmonizing with it right now. When you hear this, while you hear this. We're almost there. Then comes the next part. Soon come the events that shall help you ground this new era from within. Again, we're embodying it through ourselves. We're unfolding all of this through ourselves. And then it goes on. Without postponing on itself, it shall invite you to make peace with and then break the rigid ways connected to this linear illusion. Which is so funny because this is about time, and time is a really weird thing to me already to begin with. And there was emphasis when I wrote this on without postponing on itself. And I feel the reason for that was because we humans, me too, we often choose to postpone on things, right? We think, gonna do that later. There will be time for that some other time. Mañana. So anyway, this is what I feel this is being referred to. And very clearly, that's not what's happening here. So without postponing on itself, we're talking about the new era. It shall invite you to make peace with and then break the rigid ways connected to this linear illusion. Well, those rigid ways, I mean, agendas, to-do lists, all the ways we think we need to show ourselves or appear or meet certain expectations from other people or ourselves, number one probably, right? If anywhere in there is rigidity, we're being invited to make peace with that, which is so funny. I think it's to create the 0 point energy so that we can transform it, right? Make peace with all of that, accept it, send compassion to it, send love to it, or forgive it if you feel that that's necessary. whatever helps you to feel centered in your observation of all of these rigidities, and then break with it. Break with those rigid ways we connected to, the linear illusion. This breaking shall come with challenges, as many a comfort zone and ignorance have merged into one for long. And you have asked for these to be released from one another. So I think by that they refer to, again, the postponing of the addressing of things that want to be seen within ourselves, and us hiding in our comfort zones, not looking at these things, inner child work, whatever it is. And as a result of that, a lot of ignorance has been, how do I explain this, has been locked into our society. We've just kept it in place, so to speak, remaining comfortable, not having to look at these things, and thus choosing not to look at these things. So that's what I mean, I think, with as many a comfort zone and ignorance have merged into one for long. And you have asked for these to be released from one another. So many people have wished from their hearts or their soul energy to have these two be separated, so that we can clearly see, this is comfort zone, and you can choose to indulge in that or not. And this is ignorance, and you can work with that or not. I suppose you still have the free choice, but that's gonna change. And to see them separate, so there's no longer the built-in pitfall, so to speak, with being in your comfort zone. So you can just, enjoy it from a different level. That's something that we've been longing for, because deep within ourselves, we don't like to hide. This is a survival mechanism. All of this hiding that we do, I know if I sit still and be with it, all the hiding that I do to the outside world, where I feel that's more polite to behave in a certain way, like this or that. And then later, usually after the fact, I catch myself, I'm like, that wasn't completely fully transparent. That wasn't completely allowing myself to look at the parts within myself that still wish to be seen. Or maybe I didn't feel safe in that particular environment to be transparent about those parts, It's still a bit of a stretch for my rational mind too, to have all of these aspects of yourself be okay, to be shown and flow through you naturally, even while you're waiting at the bus stop with a bunch of strangers around you, quote unquote strangers, fellow darling human beings. So that's still a bit of a bridge for me as well. So I think we're being invited to ease into that, into a more completely open state of being where everything is allowed to just be. That's the asking that we have been doing, because it has built up a lot of pressure in all of us to fake behave so much of the time. Just because our society has drilled us and conditioned us. Well, we chose to be conditioned in that way, obviously, and we drilled ourselves, but we adopted these things. And now is the time to become aware of what is adopted and what is truly you. That's what I feel they're inviting us to do here. What they mean by the asking of these two ideas to be released from one another. After which they continue to say, through all of this then, when that happens, when that breaks, when it's being released from one another, comfort zones and ignorance, tied up energies will be set free and become available. So I look at that as a really big knot of interwoven lines of confusion, suddenly being disentangled, untangled. and the energy that it took to keep that knot tied up was immense. I'm not sure if you can feel it, but I can feel it as I'm imagining it. I can just tune in with that. I can feel it, particularly around my shoulders. I don't know why, but that's where it moves to for me. This huge knot then gets released. All the pressure goes away. And there is flow, there's effortlessness, there's just ease and beingness. And they go on to say, through all of this then, tied up energies will be set free and become available, allowing for blinders to be removed and for the logical desire to enjoy comforts based on consciousness and deeper knowing. So all of that will then become available. We will have a logical desire to enjoy comforts, but it will be based on consciousness and deeper knowing. So we're not gonna enjoy comforts that are not based on these two things. So if you like to indulge right now into teasing somebody else with how they look, for instance, and you think that's funny, you're not going to have that craving anymore, that lashing out energy, whatever, if that would be something you do to release amped up tension from your system and to take it out on somebody else. So, or whatever, if there's something like that, that wouldn't even occur to you anymore after this releasing of the tension that is in this amped up energy, in that tight knot, So I can totally imagine this. Then they go on to say, very last bit, we're almost there. Once the biggest of shifts has moved through these fields of your inner and outer vision, this is when you will find yourself invited to befriend another sense of time and space. So I feel what this means is that when we incarnated into this form, this time around, into this avatar, we got to befriend, for worse or for better, our sense of time and space. Some people are really good at that. Some people are not so good at that. I think we all have our own, talents and room for growth in that department. Some people are like really good at naturally orienting themselves in a new city or whatever. Other people are just so incredibly good with remembering dates and times and just sensing, it must be about 1 right now, or they wake up before the alarm goes, things like that. And other people are just, seemingly lost in this whole time-space reality construct that we've made up together to orient in. But we were invited to befriend it at this incarnation as we were orienting into this density, you could say. And they're letting us know that once the biggest of shifts have moved through these fields of our inner and outer vision, so we've seen it happen inside and outside, that's when we find ourselves to befriend anew. So yet again, we start over. Another sense of time and space. So that's where I really feel there's a whole new era coming, and we cannot possibly right now understand what that is truly going to be like until we're there. We're gonna really have to embody it. We're gonna have to experience it. I'm so curious about this. I really am. And then they say, we're going to be invited to befriend another sense of time and space, wherein a void dance is no more. And that means two things. There is no more avoidance. Arjun has used this pun multiple times over the years of me working with them, with the Yahyel. And he says avoidance, the verb to avoid something, also is a void dance. It's a dance around a void. There's nothing to be found. You can dance around it, but you won't find anything as long as you do. You're not going to see what's in there, you're just dancing around it. You're going to have to go into the void and move through it and face your fears and, transform all of that stuff inside of you to then see the light, to receive the information that really, really wishes to be seen by you. And you know this, I feel we all know this on a higher self level, and we're constantly reminding ourselves of that throughout, life. And then they go on to say, all contacts shall be real in perfect lockstep with the understanding of your greater self. So by that I feel, and it really moves me to read this, seriously, if you just be still for a moment and feel this part of the transmission, the final 2 sentences, moved me to tears when I just typed it out. All contacts shall be real in perfect lockstep with the understanding of your greater self. So you will have such a deep, deep understanding of your own greater self that you will feel naturally inclined to communicate so deeply and openly with all other people around you, with whomever you meet. That's how I'm perceiving this information, at least right now. that all these contacts will be real. There's no more fakeness. There's no more attitude to it that isn't truly grounded in your own understanding of your greater self. You're going to be such a different person to other people, which I am sure will invite these other people to respond to you much more real as well. You're kind of like showing them this is how it's done, and then you can meet each other on that same wavelength if they choose to, because still free will, right? And then the final sentence, and you shall remember without a shred of doubt that this is why you came. I really had to pause because I feel this so deeply. All of this whole thing that I just went through segment by segment, eventually we will all realize so deeply, oh my God, I wish this so much for every single human being, like my whole life. Oh, the beauty. Oh my God. I really do feel that we're walking around with this new paradigm in our hearts already, that it's in everyone already. I've felt this my whole life. Oh my God. But just the vision, the imagining of everybody realizing it to the fullest. My goodness. Wow. And you shall remember without a shred of doubt that this, capital letters, THIS, this is why you came. Yeah. So this is the whole download that came through, first in poetic form and now with subtitles, so to speak, all the things that I saw and felt in between. It was a joy for me to share in this way with you. I think what I personally like about this setup, and I'm not the first one doing this, by the way, sharing channelings in this particular manner, but I feel very, very comfortable with it. Yeah, it's something you can download. You can always listen to it again. Let me know how you liked it. And I'm going to continue to write and see when I feel inspired to share more of this in this format, or maybe even other ones, new ones, because we're all continuously growing and learning. And more so even, I believe, through play. Play is such a powerful way of allowing more expansion into our full awareness. Okay, my dear friends, thank you so much for being here with me on this exploration. And I hope to see you soon with more things to come. Bye.